Imagine yourself walking through the threshold of your home after a long day, setting down a heavy backpack you've been carrying all day. This backpack is filled not with books or tools, but with the stress, the tasks left undone, the conversations that didn't go the way you hoped, the emails unanswered, the traffic, the deadlines, the tension in your shoulders, the weight in your chest. Each moment of the day has added a stone to this invisible burden. And now here you are, lying down in the quiet, the room still, the lights low, the breath shallow, and you are given the quiet invitation to put it all down. You don't need to carry it here. It served you once. It got you through today. But the night asks for something else. It asks for softness, for surrender, for the lightness that only letting go can bring. The day may have demanded so much of you, the expectations from others, the pressure to be productive, to respond quickly, to keep up with everything. All of this lives in the mind, in the body. It forms a kind of armor, but you don't need armor to sleep. You don't need alertness. You don't need plans or strategies. All you need is to allow the moment to arrive, just as it is, and to meet it with the full truth of who you are beneath the weight of your day. Notice your breath. Let it come and go naturally, like a tide. With every exhale, you have the chance to release something. Maybe it's a thought that won't let go. Maybe it's the tightness in your neck. Maybe it's a story that keeps repeating, hoping to resolve. Let it go, not because it isn't important, but because you are important, because your rest is sacred. And in this moment you deserve nothing more than peace. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench. Let your hands rest gently beside you. The body is so wise. It knows how to relax. It knows how to fall asleep. Sometimes the mind forgets, and that's okay. The mind tries to solve everything, but there is nothing to solve here. No decisions to make, no outcomes to control. There is only this moment, and it does not require effort. As you breathe, imagine that each inhale brings in a soft, golden light, and each exhale sends out the dust of the day, all the worry, the doing, the noise. The light stays with you. It settles in your chest, in your belly, in your hands, in your legs. It anchors you. There is nowhere else you need to be. You have already done enough. You are already enough. You do not have to earn sleep. It is a gift, a natural rhythm, a return home. You are safe. The world is still turning. The stars are still shining. And in this moment, you are being gently held by everything around you. Let go of what you thought you had to hold on to. Let go of the rushing. Let go of the performance. Let go of the heaviness. Let go of the noise. Let go of the fear. Let go of the doing. Let go of the proving. Let go of the burden of always having to be strong. Let go of the belief that rest must be justified. Let go of the idea that you must do more to be more. Let go of the weight that isn't yours. Let go of the grip on time. Let go of the tension between what is and what was supposed to be. Let go of the waiting. Let go of the striving. Let go of the apology. Let go of the guilt. Let go of everything that does not belong to the stillness of this moment. Breathe in the rhythm of calm. As you lie here now, your breath becomes your gentle anchor, connecting you to the present moment, to stillness, to ease. Imagine the breath as the soft tide of the sea, coming in and going out, smooth and unhurried. It is not something to control or master, but something to follow, like the rustle of leaves in a summer breeze or the drift of clouds across an open sky. The inhale rises slowly, bringing with it clarity, openness, and space. The exhale falls away like a sigh, letting go of effort, tension, and noise. Nothing needs to be fixed or forced. Simply follow. Allow the breath to guide you inward, toward yourself, toward rest, toward peace. With each breath, The edges of your day begin to soften, the lines blur, the speed slows, the body becomes weightless, as if you are floating on calm water. Your lungs draw in cool, quiet air. They release the heaviness of thoughts and worries. This rhythm has always been there, faithful and patient. Sometimes we move too quickly to notice it, but it's never gone. Right now, all you need is this breath. Let it rise like the sun, illuminating the landscape of your inner world. Let it fall like twilight, dimming the thoughts that beg to be solved. This is not the time for solving. This is the time for listening, for resting, for trusting that everything can wait. Every inhale is an invitation to arrive. Every exhale is an invitation to let go. You do not need to breathe any certain way. Just notice. Just be with the breath. Let it come and go like waves, like seasons, like moonlight moving across a still pond. With each breath, the body releases, the muscles soften, the heartbeat slows, the mind, often loud and quick and searching, begins to quiet. You are not pushing thoughts away. You are simply not holding them. You are not resisting. You are allowing. In this space, nothing is asked of you. No one needs anything from you. You do not need to show up for anyone else. You are already here just as you are, perfectly enough. The breath is your companion. It does not judge. It does not expect. It is simply with you always. Inhale peace, exhale tension, inhale quiet, exhale noise. Let the breath become slower, more gentle, like a lullaby, like a whisper through tall trees. Feel it move through the nose, the throat, the chest, the belly. Feel how the body responds. It knows what to do. It remembers how to rest. It remembers how to let go. All you need to do is stay close to the breath, like following a stream into the heart of a forest. The path will reveal itself. You don't need to rush. You don't need to look ahead. Stay with this breath. This one, then the next, then the next. And as the breath deepens, so does your sense of peace. You are not your thoughts. You are not your day. You are not your productivity. You are not your past or your worries about tomorrow. You are this moment, this breath, this gentle rhythm of life moving through you. Let the breath carry you, like a boat across still waters. Let it hold you, let it cradle you, let it remind you of the stillness you've always had within. Breathe in the calm of the night. Breathe out the noise of the day. Breathe in ease, breathe out effort. Let each breath be a step further into stillness, into rest, into the quiet beauty of simply being. Close your eyes and begin to feel the gentle presence of your body lying here, supported by the earth beneath you. There is no urgency, no requirement to move or to act. You are simply here, present and safe. With each passing moment, the body begins to soften, as if it's remembering something ancient, something true. Begin to notice the feeling of your skin, the contact of your body with the surface below. Notice how the body responds to stillness, muscles releasing their grip, joints settling into a quiet rhythm, the face letting go of all expressions. Behind the closed eyes, a sense of space begins to open. The world outside begins to dissolve, and in its place, a deeper world unfolds, a quieter world, filled with comfort and ease. This is the doorway to inner peace, and it has always been within you. You don't need to go anywhere to find it. You don't need to do anything to earn it. You simply arrive as you are, and it welcomes you. Listen to the silence, the space between each breath, each heartbeat. It is not empty. It is full of calm, full of knowing, full of rest. Allow that silence to expand, to wash over you like soft moonlight spilling across a still landscape. Let yourself melt into it, surrender to it. The day is done and everything can wait. You are safe to rest, safe to release, safe to float inward. Your mind may still offer thoughts, ideas. echoes of conversations or plans for tomorrow. That is natural. You are not here to resist those thoughts, only to watch them drift by like clouds in a vast sky. They do not need to be followed. Let them move gently and slowly out of view. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, wide and open, still and steady. With each moment that passes, you go deeper. The breath slows not because you force it to, but because the body remembers. It knows how to be calm. It knows how to rest. Let this calm spread through your chest, down your arms, into your fingers. Let it move through your neck, your jaw, your face, untying knots of tension that have been held for too long. Let it sink down your spine, into your hips, your legs, your feet. From head to toe, allow yourself to be bathed in quiet comfort. You are not here to fix anything. You are not here to strive. You are here to return to your essence, to your stillness, to the part of you untouched by the noise of the world. Imagine a warm light within your chest, glowing gently, pulsing with peace. With every breath it expands, filling you with a sense of inner safety, balance, and serenity. This light is your guide, your sanctuary, your home. Let it radiate through you, beyond you, dissolving any trace of stress or fear. Feel your body growing heavier now, as if sinking into the arms of the earth, fully held, fully supported. There is nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. You are enough in this stillness, in this silence. Let your inner landscape become a garden of peace, where only quiet exists, where only softness remains. Let this be the place where sleep begins to bloom, not from effort, but from allowing, not from trying, but from trusting. As the world fades into a soft blur, the rhythm of your breath, the stillness of your heart, and the warmth of your presence are all that remain. Let yourself be gently carried by this peace, wrapped in it like a blanket, surrounded by it like a forest, flowing with it like a river that knows its way. Let yourself begin to notice the rhythm of your breath, soft and steady, like waves brushing gently against a quiet shore. With each inhale, invite calm. With each exhale, release anything that no longer serves you. Let the air move in and out naturally, without force, just as it has done your entire life. This breath is your companion, always with you, guiding you quietly through every moment. As you breathe, begin to feel the body letting go. The shoulders drop, the jaw softens, the hands rest. There is nothing to carry now, no tasks to complete. You are here, and that is enough. Let the breath move like wind through trees, rustling gently, never demanding. Each breath carries you deeper into stillness, deeper into the soft embrace of the present. Notice how the body responds to this awareness. Your chest rises and falls gently, naturally. The air cool as it enters, warm as it leaves. This is the sound of life at rest. This is your body remembering how to be calm, how to surrender. Allow this rhythm to soothe the thoughts in your mind. Let them slow, like leaves settling at the bottom of a clear lake. Thoughts may still appear, drifting in and out, but they no longer carry weight. You simply observe them, without reaction, without judgment. They come and they go, while you remain still, centered, calm. This breath is your anchor, your doorway to peace. Let it remind you of the simplicity of this moment. You do not need to change anything. You do not need to add anything. You are whole as you are, and the breath reminds you of that wholeness. Feel how the air flows through you, nourishing every cell, calming every nerve, grounding your awareness. With each breath, you become more rooted in this space, more in tune with your inner stillness. Let that stillness spread through your body, like gentle ripples moving outward. It touches your shoulders, your arms, your hands. It flows down your spine, into your legs, into your feet. Every part of you is bathed in calm, There is no rush. There is no pressure. There is only breath, only peace. As you continue to breathe, notice how the world around you becomes quieter. External sounds fade into the background. The silence grows deeper, more nourishing, like a warm pool of comfort. You are cradled by this silence, supported by it. In this space, your breath is your guide. It leads you to a place beyond worry, beyond effort. A place where rest begins to unfold, not because you chase it, but because you allow it. Let the breath slow even more now. Let it become shallow, effortless, light as a feather. The body follows this rhythm, relaxing even further, entering a state of gentle stillness. The heart slows, the thoughts quiet, the muscles soften. You are returning to your natural state, calm, grounded, present. And the breath continues like a quiet friend who asks nothing of you. It is simply there, moment by moment, reminding you that you are safe, that you are home, that you are free to rest. Imagine a gentle forest cloaked in twilight. The canopy above filters the last light of day, casting a soft glow upon the earth. Beneath your feet, the ground is cool and steady, blanketed with moss and fallen leaves. This is your place of rest, where the noise of the world has faded into a hush. Here, in the arms of nature, your body can begin to let go. The air is rich with the scent of pine and earth, grounding you with every breath. A soft breeze moves through the trees, whispering through the branches like an ancient lullaby. With each exhale, you feel more rooted to this place, as though the forest itself welcomes your stillness. There is no need to move, there is no need to think. The forest holds you in its timeless rhythm, where everything unfolds in quiet harmony. A distant stream gurgles softly, winding through the underbrush, its melody soothing and constant. This sound weaves through your awareness like a thread of calm, inviting the mind to rest. Birds settle into their nests. The creatures of the forest retreat into sleep. The world is slowing, and you are a part of this rhythm. The forest breathes with you, its vast life force rising and falling in sync with your own. With every breath you take, a deeper connection forms. You are not separate from this peace. You are of it, within it, supported by it. The trees stand tall around you, ancient and unmoving, their roots reaching deep into the earth, just as your awareness sinks deeper into the present. Let your attention wander gently across this scene. Feel the coolness of the air as it brushes your skin. Sense the stability of the earth beneath you. Listen to the subtle symphony of nightfall, each sound a note in the quiet orchestra of evening. In this forest, time stretches and softens. Moments blend together like ripples on a pond, each breath drawing you into greater stillness. There is no need to chase the quiet. It is already here. You have simply arrived to meet it. As you settle, imagine the trees slowly breathing with you, their trunks expanding slightly, then relaxing, their leaves fluttering with the breath of the wind. Even the forest, grand and timeless, breathes just as you do, effortlessly, naturally, without resistance. The stillness here is not empty. It is full of life, full of calm, full of gentle awareness. You are surrounded by it, and it is within you. Let that stillness spread like mist across your thoughts, softening edges, blurring distractions. The mind, like the forest floor, grows quiet under the blanket of dusk. Thoughts settle like petals, drifting down and resting where they fall. There is no judgment here, no urgency, only acceptance. In this space, every part of you is allowed to simply be. The breath continues, deep and calm, a rhythm older than words. It carries you deeper into yourself, deeper into presence, deeper into peace. The forest remains still around you, a guardian of your rest. The night continues its quiet unfolding, and with it your mind releases all tension. This is your sanctuary, your refuge, your return to calm, and still the stream flows, still the trees stand watch. Still, the air carries the lullaby of dusk, inviting your body to release its final threads of wakefulness. Your heartbeat slows to match the gentle rhythm of the world around you. Your breath becomes lighter, quieter, like a whisper shared with the wind. The breath is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, the seen and the unseen, the body and the mind. It moves quietly, effortlessly, a constant thread in the fabric of your being. Each inhale draws in the energy of the present moment, and each exhale releases what no longer serves. There is power in this simplicity. There is healing in this rhythm. Let your attention settle gently on the flow of air moving in and out of your body. Feel it enter through the nose, cool and smooth, and leave through the mouth, warm and soft. This breath is your anchor. It grounds you when thoughts begin to wander, when the past calls or the future tempts. It brings you back to now. With every inhale, your body gently rises, and with every exhale, it softens into stillness. There is no need to force the breath. It knows the way. It has always known. Simply observe. Notice its length, its depth, its texture. Watch how it changes as you relax, becoming slower, quieter, deeper. As the breath deepens, so too does your awareness. The outer world fades into a soft blur, and the inner world becomes clear and spacious. Within this spaciousness, the breath becomes more than air. It becomes awareness itself. It becomes your guide into the hidden places of the self. With each breath, tension unwinds like knots coming loose in a thread. The jaw softens, the shoulders drop. The belly expands with ease. The mind, so used to chasing, begins to follow the rhythm of the breath instead. It becomes still not through force, but through surrender. Thoughts come and go like waves, but the breath remains constant and calm. Let it carry you inward, past the surface thoughts and into the deeper quiet beneath. The breath leads you down a path of stillness, where every cell of the body listens. There is a presence within the breath that goes beyond form, beyond sound. It is the quiet intelligence of the body, the ancient wisdom of being. It does not need to be understood. It only needs to be felt. Allow it to cradle you, to rock you gently into deeper rest. As you follow the breath, imagine it as a soft light, moving through the body, illuminating the places that need healing, attention, or simply rest. This light flows with the breath, from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. It brings ease where there was tension, warmth where there was coldness, and presence where there was distraction. With every cycle, the body becomes heavier, the thoughts become lighter, and the awareness becomes clearer. In this space, you begin to sense the quiet hum of life within you, a subtle vibration that reminds you of your aliveness. This hum is not loud, but it is steady. It has always been there beneath the noise. The breath uncovers it, like a stream uncovering smooth stones hidden beneath the current. Let yourself rest in this rhythm. Let the breath be enough. Let it be the only thing you need to follow. It will lead you where you need to go, not through effort, but through surrender. The breath is not a destination, but a passage, a soft invitation to return home to yourself. You don't need to hold on. You don't need to figure anything out. Just stay with the breath. Let it flow. Let it be. Let it carry you into stillness, into rest, into peace. The gentle hum of nighttime becomes the backdrop of an inward journey. Beyond the noise of the day, there exists a silence that speaks in whispers, a place where thoughts dissolve into stillness. This silence is not empty but full, rich with the echoes of ancient peace. It holds space for healing, for surrender, for deep and quiet restoration. It is not something to be chased or captured, but something to be allowed, like a mist that rises without command. In this silence, the body listens more clearly, the heartbeat slows, the breath finds a natural rhythm, and the mind, so accustomed to spinning tales, begins to unravel its narrative. Each moment spent in stillness is a return to something forgotten, a reconnection with the essence that lies beneath words, beneath identity, beneath noise. Silence does not demand, it simply waits. It welcomes without judgment and reveals what was hidden in plain sight. In the absence of sound, the soul begins to speak, not in language, but in feeling. There's a vastness in this quiet, a spaciousness that stretches beyond thought. It is in this space that peace grows. Peace is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of calm within it. It is not dependent on external conditions. It is the deep, still pool at the center of your being, untouched by surface turbulence. You reach it not by effort, but by release, by letting go of the need to control, to understand, to do. This is the sacred stillness where healing begins, not with action, but with presence. As you rest in this silence, your senses begin to soften. The sharp edges of tension dull, the chatter fades like distant thunder moving away. The muscles in your face relax. The weight in your shoulders lifts. Even your thoughts, once loud and insistent, begin to bow to the quiet. They may arise still, but they do not disturb. They pass like leaves on a slow-moving stream. In this silence you are held, not by walls or arms, but by a vast and unseen support that exists within the present moment. It holds you as you are, not as you strive to be. It accepts without asking. It nurtures without needing. You are free to rest in this space, without the need to explain, justify, or perform. The silence does not require you to be anything but what you are. Here, everything softens. Even time feels slower, like honey poured from a spoon. The past cannot follow you here, and the future waits quietly at the edge. There is only this moment unfolding gently, breath by breath. Within this sacred quiet, the nervous system resets. The body knows what to do. The heart knows how to beat. The lungs know how to breathe. The cells know how to repair. All of it unfolds without effort, without instruction. This is the wisdom of silence. It clears the space so healing can happen on its own. With each breath, the silence deepens, and with it, your connection to something greater than yourself. Not something outside, but something vast within. A field of awareness that extends beyond the boundaries of the body, touching the quiet rhythms of the universe. Here in this stillness, you are not alone. You are part of a quiet collective presence, a shared stillness that links all living things. It is the space where night and day meet, where beginnings and endings blend into one long, seamless breath. The silence continues, not as an absence, but as a soft, humming fullness. It is the womb of creation, the canvas of dreams, the refuge for the tired mind. And in its gentle embrace, the need to think fades, the need to worry dissolves, and what remains is the peaceful rhythm of being itself. Sleep, when welcomed with reverence, becomes more than rest. It transforms into a ritual of renewal. Each nightfall is a quiet invitation to step away from the world of form and activity, into the invisible realm where the body, mind, and spirit recalibrate. It begins with the surrender of light, the softening of colors, the hush that gradually blankets the air. As dusk deepens into night, the external world loosens its grip. The mind, like a lake settling after a storm, starts to calm. Thoughts that once rushed now trickle. Plans, worries, and to-do lists fall away, like petals from a spent flower. What remains is presence, a gentle awareness of breath, of body, of space. With each slow inhale and exhale, the nervous system lets go of its tension. Shoulders drop, jaws unclench, hands release their grasp. There's nothing left to hold onto, nothing to push against. This is the sacred descent into sleep, not a fall, but a graceful floating downward, like autumn leaves riding the air. It is here that healing begins, in the quiet corridors of night, where consciousness dims and deeper intelligence awakens. Dreams are not just flights of fancy, but pathways into symbols and stories that arise from the soul. Sleep is not an escape but a return to the self unburdened by roles, labels, and masks. It is a return to rhythm, to the cycles that govern nature. Just as the ocean tides rise and fall, so too does the breath, so too does awareness. Night mimics winter, a time of withdrawal, of rest, of retreat from the constant doing. Within the darkness, a different kind of light stirs, the light of introspection, of inner guidance, of silent transformation. In this fertile stillness, the mind resets, the body repairs, and the heart recalibrates. Each cell receives its nightly dose of restoration. Hormones balance, organs recover, the immune system strengthens. Even the bones, solid and silent, are alive with quiet work. In the deeper stages of sleep, the brain purges what is no longer needed. Memories are sorted, emotions processed, clarity cultivated. Like a garden tended in moonlight, growth happens invisibly, without effort or awareness. To welcome sleep is to trust, to let go of the day's edges and trust that everything will hold, that nothing urgent remains. Sleep does not ask for solutions. It asks for softness, for receptivity, for presence. It requires only that we stop, that we allow, that we be. It is an act of surrender, and in that surrender lies the deepest peace. As the breath continues its gentle flow, the boundary between waking and dreaming blurs. The body becomes heavy yet light, grounded yet drifting. The mind opens like a window in spring, letting in the quiet breeze of the unconscious. This is the moment between moments, the silent gap where true rest begins. In this space, you are neither past nor future. You are not your name, your job, your responsibilities. You are simply a being resting in the arms of night, cradled by the rhythm of the cosmos, rocked by the pulse of the earth. The stars keep watch above, silent and ancient, indifferent and deeply familiar. You are part of their story, a flicker in the vast web of light. Sleep welcomes you as you are, with nothing to prove, nothing to achieve. You do not need to try to fall asleep. You only need to be willing to let go, to be still, to trust that rest will come. And it will come not like a wave crashing, but like mist slowly rising, like darkness gradually blanketing the land. It comes because it must, because nature is cyclical and wise, and always knows when to rest. Your body knows, your breath knows, your spirit knows. This knowing lives beneath the noise, beneath the thought, in the quiet center where sleep begins. The breath is an anchor, a quiet companion that remains constant even when the mind wanders. With each inhale and exhale, it brings you back to this moment, to this body, to this stillness. It does not rush. It does not demand. It simply flows, gently and rhythmically, like waves upon a shore. This breath, your breath, is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between wakefulness and rest. As you tune into its natural cadence, you begin to notice the subtle shifts within, the slowing of the heart, the softening of the muscles, the easing of the mind. There is no need to control it, only to observe, to receive. The more you listen, the more you trust it, the deeper your sense of safety becomes. This breath is your refuge, your guide, your key to the temple of rest. In this sacred silence, distractions fade. The noise of the day, the conversations, the screens, the expectations drifts into the background. All that remains is the breath and the beating heart, two rhythms harmonizing in the quiet. You are not thinking about the breath, you are becoming it. With every rise and fall of the chest, you feel more grounded, more held. The air is cool as it enters, warm as it leaves, an exchange so simple, yet so profound. Your body responds to this awareness, aligning itself with the breath's wisdom. The spine lengthens, the shoulders release, the jaw unlocks. This is not something you must force. Your body knows how to rest, if only given permission. And permission begins with awareness. As you stay with the breath, your senses heighten. You may hear the subtle rustling of leaves outside, the gentle hum of the night, the soft sigh of your own body unwinding. Even silence has a sound, one of peace, of emptiness, full of potential. With each breath, the boundaries of your body begin to blur. You are no longer confined to shape or skin. You are part of the atmosphere, part of the air. You are both witness and participant in this sacred unfolding. The breath carries you inward, like a river winding through a deep forest. The mind, once restless and reactive, begins to trust this rhythm. Thoughts may still appear, like birds in the sky, but they are no longer gripping. They come, they go. The breath remains. It is the thread that weaves you into the present. It reminds you that rest is not found in effort, but in letting go. That peace is not a destination, but a presence already here. The breath connects you to all that lives. Every tree, every creature, every ocean shares this sacred act of breathing. You are not separate from nature. You are nature, resting, breathing, renewing. In the quiet of night, this becomes clear. Each breath is a gesture of trust, a surrender to the moment. It is a lullaby sung by the body to the soul, reassuring it that it is safe to release, to drift, to dream. As you continue to follow the breath, awareness deepens, time becomes fluid, thoughts become lighter. You are not chasing sleep, you are arriving at it, one breath at a time. The body knows this path, the breath has walked it every night. It leads you gently, patiently, without resistance. You need only follow. The more you listen, the more you soften. The breath teaches patience, presence, peace. It reminds you that the journey inward is always available, always safe. That healing begins not with action, but with attention. And in this breath, there is nothing missing. There is only this moment, this inhale, this exhale, and the quiet knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. The rhythm of the natural world offers a lullaby far older than words. Outside the window, unseen but deeply felt, the earth whispers with stillness. The trees stand like silent sentinels, their leaves fluttering gently in the breeze, a language only the quiet heart can understand. The night sky stretches above, vast and eternal, casting a serene gaze over the land below. Stars blink softly, their light traveling across time, calming the restless mind with their ancient presence. The moon hangs like a cradle, rocking the world to sleep in silver silence. Even the wind, once rushing with the urgency of the day, now moves more slowly, as though respecting the sacredness of this peaceful hour. As you settle into this calm, you become a part of this natural rhythm, not separate from it. The body no longer feels like an island, but a continuation of the forest, the air, the starlit sky. Every breath you take is in sync with the universe breathing with you. Your heartbeat mimics the pulse of the world, steady and alive. There is no need to do anything, no problem to solve, no task to finish. Nature does not hurry, and yet everything is accomplished. The clouds drift without direction, the rivers flow without doubt, and the flowers bloom without planning. In this way, rest is not an absence of activity, but a return to alignment with the natural flow. This is not a place you go to, but a state you return to, one that has always been waiting. The birds, now asleep in their nests, do not question the setting sun. They trust the cycle, the rhythm, the pause. So too can you trust that now is the time for stillness. The body understands this deeply, relaxing without being told, softening without being forced. Muscles unwind, bones grow heavy, the skin cools with the gentle kiss of night. There is safety here, not from the absence of threat, but from the presence of belonging. You belong to this quiet world, to this ancient stillness. You are not outside it, observing. It is in you, around you, through you. The more you allow yourself to be present, the more you remember this truth. You are not alone in your desire for rest. Every creature, from the fox in its den to the owl perched above, surrenders to this shared silence. The darkness is not empty. It is full of wisdom, full of restoration. It wraps around you like a soft blanket, whispering stories in a voice older than language. And you listen, not with ears, but with presence. The rustle of grass, the murmur of distant waters, the breath of your own body, these are the sounds of peace. The mind, once running through endless corridors of thought, begins to mirror the still lake, its surface smooth and undisturbed. Thoughts pass like clouds, temporary and harmless. They are part of the landscape, not the storm. You are grounded now, tethered to the earth by an invisible cord of awareness. And through that connection, peace flows into you like cool spring water. It fills the spaces that once felt tense, anxious, or restless. It does not need to explain itself. It simply is. In this space, you are not striving. You are not achieving. You are simply being, which is more than enough. You are as you were always meant to be, calm, quiet, aware, and deeply at ease. The night welcomes you, not as a guest, but as one of its own. In the absence of striving, you find the presence of grace. The quiet around you does not ask anything from you. It offers instead. It gives sanctuary. It gives stillness. It gives you back to yourself, unburdened, unhurried, and whole. The breath, often unnoticed, becomes the gentle thread that connects body and mind, weaving through the stillness like a breeze through tall grass. Inhale, and the lungs expand like sails catching wind, drawing in not just air but possibility. Exhale, and the body softens further, releasing the accumulated tension of hours, days, years. This rhythm, so simple and ancient, becomes a lullaby for the nervous system. With each breath, you are reminded that life is not a race but a rhythm, a dance of receiving and releasing. The inhale is a quiet arrival, the exhale a graceful letting go. As you tune into this breath, you begin to sense that it is more than oxygen. It carries intention. It speaks to your cells, your heart, your very bones. It tells them that they are safe, that the moment needs nothing more than this, the breath steady and true. The breath is the great anchor, not tying you down but holding you here, in the now, in this body, in this peace. It asks nothing and gives everything. Inhale, and you draw in calm like morning, dew gathering on leaves. Exhale, and the worries slide off your shoulders like water from stone. This cycle continues, not forced, not manipulated, just witnessed. And in that witnessing, something begins to shift. The mind, ever hungry for tasks and distractions, begins to yield. It listens to the breath like a child listening to a story. The breath becomes a guide, leading you away from the noise, the clutter, the chaos, into a space that exists beyond words. There silence is not absence, but presence alive, luminous, whole. With every inhale, you are reminded that you are alive, not just surviving but capable of sensing the miracle of being. With every exhale, you unburden yourself from the unnecessary. There is no past here, no future, only this gentle tide of breath, soothing every inner storm. The breath in its wisdom goes where it is needed most, into the tightness in your chest, into the knot in your stomach, into the shadows behind your eyes. It moves like a bomb, like light through a forest, finding the places where healing has long been waiting. You do not need to control it. You need only allow it. And as you allow, the breath deepens, not in volume, but in meaning. It becomes more than air. It becomes communion with self, with life, with the mystery that holds it all. And just as the tide does not need your instruction to rise and fall, the breath continues effortlessly, reliably, like the earth spinning beneath your body. It is the first thing you did upon arriving in this world, and it will be the last before you leave it. Between those two moments lies this one, and this one, and this one. Each breath an opportunity to come home, not to a place, but to a feeling of ease, of enoughness, of presence. And as the breath moves, it begins to soften even the thoughts. They float by like clouds across a moonlit sky, noticed but not held. You need not chase them, fix them, fear them. Just let them pass. Return to the breath, always the breath. In this space, breath becomes sanctuary. Not brick and mortar, but pulse and presence. You are not seeking anything outside of yourself. You are returning to something timeless within. The breath becomes your companion through the night, a constant, a comfort, a compass guiding you gently towards sleep. There is a certain kind of power that comes from stillness, a quiet confidence that doesn't shout but radiates. In a world obsessed with noise, with proving and chasing and performing, this stillness stands in contrast like a mountain amidst rushing rivers. It doesn't need attention, applause, or validation because it knows itself. It is the kind of power that is felt before it is seen, the kind that enters a room and shifts the air without a single word. This power does not demand space. It becomes the space. It listens more than it speaks. It sees more than it shows. It acts not for recognition, but from deep-rooted purpose. People who carry this kind of presence don't rely on titles or status. They move through the world with a calm strength that whispers of inner work done in silence, of battles fought and won within. This presence is forged in solitude, in moments when no one is watching. It is born from knowing oneself deeply, honestly, without embellishment. These individuals have faced their own shadows and learned to sit with discomfort rather than escape it. They've held their own pain without blaming the world. They've chosen the harder path when no one was there to give them credit. And because of that, they've built a kind of strength that cannot be taken away. It is not reactive, not impulsive. It is intentional, thoughtful, rooted. Their words carry weight not because they speak often, but because when they do, they speak truth. They speak with clarity, with alignment between thought and action, between values and voice. This kind of presence doesn't need to be the loudest in the room to be heard. In fact, silence often amplifies their message. In meetings, in conversations, in conflict, they hold themselves with poise, with respect for others and for themselves. They don't dominate through volume, but through substance. People find themselves drawn to their energy, seeking their perspective, their calm in the chaos. And while others scramble to be noticed, they simply continue their work, steady and focused. It's not that they don't feel fear or doubt. It's that they've learned how to move with those feelings, not be ruled by them. They've trained themselves to respond, not react, to observe, not absorb, to be fully present, even when it would be easier to disconnect. Their strength is not measured in how much they control others, but in how well they master themselves. They don't chase approval because they know their worth is not up for negotiation. They don't need to be liked by everyone because they've learned to like themselves. They carry boundaries like quiet armor, not walls, but clear lines that protect their peace. And when they speak of love, it is not to impress but to connect. They know that kindness is not weakness, that empathy does not diminish strength. In fact, their compassion is one of the truest expressions of their power. They don't just listen to respond, they listen to understand. They don't just lead to be followed, they lead to serve, to uplift. To transform people often ask where this kind of power comes from, assuming it is natural or inherited. But it is cultivated. It is shaped by choices, by resilience, by the willingness to look inward instead of outward. It is born from nights spent in reflection rather than distraction, from confronting truths rather than hiding from them. This power is not exclusive. It is available to anyone willing to sit in the discomfort of growth, to choose awareness over autopilot, to build rather than boast. It's a quiet revolution, one that doesn't need to be televised or posted or liked. It just needs to be lived, moment by moment, breath by breath. And in that living, it becomes a beacon, not for attention, but for authenticity. It invites others not to imitate, but to return to themselves, to remember that they too can carry this stillness, this strength, this unwavering sense of self. There is a resilience in women that is often mistaken for softness, a quiet endurance that endures not because it is weak, but because it is deeply rooted in strength. Women carry centuries of stories in their eyes, of mothers, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers who survived wars, grief, loss, silence, and sacrifice. Their strength is not always loud. It's not always celebrated. It often lives in the unnoticed places, holding families together, nurturing others while forgetting themselves, crying behind closed doors and smiling in front of the world. Yet through it all they rise. Again and again they rise. Not because they have to prove anything, but because rising is in their blood. It's in their DNA. It's in their spirit. They are the backbone of communities, the heartbeat of homes, the quiet force that turns pain into purpose and struggle into service. There are women who carry fire in their hearts and calm in their eyes. They've walked through storms without umbrellas, faced judgment with grace, and borne wounds the world will never see. But still they show up, still they give, still they choose love even when life gives them every reason to hate. Their kindness is not naive, it's courageous. It's the decision to stay open in a world that constantly tries to harden them. They nurture others while healing themselves. They forgive without forgetting. They dream even when the world tells them to be realistic. And they keep going even when they are exhausted, even when no one claps for them, even when no one sees the battles they fight silently. You'll find women who build empires out of broken pieces, who turn heartbreak into art, loss into literature, and rejection into redirection. They don't wait for someone to save them. They become their own rescue. They learn to carry themselves with dignity even when everything inside them feels undone. They redefine what it means to be powerful, not by dominating others, but by staying rooted in their values. They are soft yet unshakable, gentle yet fierce. They are not waiting to be chosen, they choose themselves. They are not asking for permission. They're giving themselves the authority to take up space, to speak, to create, to lead. To simply be. These women don't need to wear armor to be warriors. Their courage is in their vulnerability, in their ability to speak their truth, to show their scars, to say "this hurt me," without shame. They've learned that strength isn't about never breaking. It's about breaking and still believing you are whole, still believing in your voice, still believing in your worth. They redefine beauty in every stretch mark, wrinkle, and line that tells a story. They are no longer shrinking themselves to fit into spaces that don't value them. They are building new spaces, creating new tables, and inviting others in not just to sit, but to rise. There are women whose silence speaks louder than words, whose presence heals without touch, whose resilience doesn't need to be broadcast because it lives in every decision to keep showing up, to keep loving, to keep believing in the good. These women inspire not by perfection, but by authenticity, by being real, by saying, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm still here. And in a world obsessed with filters and facades, that kind of honesty is revolutionary. They are not defined by roles or labels. They are not just mothers, daughters, sisters, wives. They are leaders, visionaries, creators, builders. They are walking legacies, reminding the world that womanhood is not a limitation but a gift, not a burden but a power, not a role to play but a soul to be honored. Their existence is proof that you can be everything at once, strong and sensitive, bold and kind, tired and still trying, broken and still beautiful. There is something profoundly transformative about women who choose to break generational cycles. These are the women who look pain in the face and say, "This ends with me." They carry not only their own wounds, but the wounds of the women who came before them, wounds that were never spoken, never healed, never even acknowledged. And still, they rise each day with the determination to rewrite the narrative, to give their children a different story, to look in the mirror and see not just survival, but revolution. These women are the healers of their bloodlines, the quiet revolutionaries who decide that abuse, silence, shame, or neglect will not be passed on to the next generation. It is not easy work. It is lonely, exhausting, and often misunderstood. But they keep going, choosing therapy over suppression, communication over avoidance, love over self-destruction. They are the ones who learn to love themselves after years of being taught we're not enough, who confront the inner critic that sounds suspiciously like voices from their past parents, teachers, society, and say, "You don't get to write my story anymore." They become mothers who speak gently to their children because they remember the sting of harsh words. They become women who choose partners based on love and respect, not out of fear or survival. They say no where others were taught to stay silent. They say yes to opportunities their mothers could only dream of. They reclaim joy not just for themselves, but for the generations that never knew how to access it. These women learn the power of boundaries. They recognize that love does not mean tolerance of harm, that loyalty should never come at the cost of self-respect. They unlearn the idea that suffering is noble, that sacrifice must be constant, that their needs are always secondary. And in doing so, they create space within themselves and around them for peace to exist, for safety to flourish, for wholeness to be normal. It is radical to believe you deserve good things when you've been conditioned to accept crumbs. It is bold to demand respect when your ancestors were taught submission. And yet they do it with grace, with trembling hands, with a fire that refuses to die out. These women speak up even when their voices shake. They walk away from what no longer serves them even when their hearts ache. They learn to trust their intuition, that inner knowing that has been silenced for far too long. They become the cycle breakers by choosing healing over numbness, connection over isolation, truth over convenience. They recognize that their healing does not mean others will understand them, and that's okay. They are not doing it for applause. They are doing it because they know the cost of silence, of compliance, of staying small. They know what it feels like to inherit pain and what it means to decide the next generation will inherit something better, and so they journal instead of yelling. They take deep breaths instead of slamming doors. They pause before reacting. They apologize to their children. They ask for help, they rest without guilt, they dream without apology, they nurture their inner child, learning how to parent themselves with the love they never received. They no longer carry guilt for choosing joy, for laughing loudly, for dancing freely, for speaking truths that make others uncomfortable. They understand that healing doesn't look like perfection. It looks like intention. It looks like trying again. It looks like being gentle with yourself, even when the world is hard. They are breaking chains that were meant to stay unbroken. They are speaking names that were buried in shame. They are loving in ways they were never taught. And in doing so, they become not just survivors, but architects of a new legacy. One built on courage, compassion, clarity, and conscious choice. One where daughters no longer flinch at raised voices. One where sons learn that vulnerability is strength. One where love feels like safety, not survival. Where families grow not from fear, but from freedom. These women are not waiting for someone to save them or change the world for them. They are the change, the shift, the turning point in their lineage. Their courage is quiet, but it echoes through generations, louder than any scream. There's a certain kind of woman whose presence shifts the energy in every room she enters, not because she demands attention with loudness or seeks validation from others, but because she carries a calm, quiet strength that makes people feel both curious and safe. She doesn't chase approval, nor does she bend herself to fit into spaces that weren't made for her. She knows who she is, what she deserves, and how much she's grown to get here. Her energy doesn't seek, it attracts, not because she's trying to impress, but because she's aligned with peace, and peace has a magnetic force of its own. She doesn't explain herself unnecessarily, doesn't argue with people committed to misunderstanding her, and doesn't waste her energy convincing others of her worth. She simply shows up, and her presence speaks volumes. She's been through fire, but she doesn't wear her pain as armor. Instead, she lets it soften her edges, deepen her empathy, and sharpen her wisdom. She listens more than she speaks, but when she speaks, people listen. Her words carry weight because they come from experience, reflection, and a place of knowing. She doesn't gossip, she guards her peace. She doesn't compete, she celebrates others. She doesn't seek revenge, she heals and moves on. Her energy is mature, grounded, and magnetic. Not because she's perfect, but because she's real. Authenticity is her superpower, and people are drawn to her because, in a world full of masks, she dares to be herself. She values silence as much as conversation. She understands the power of walking away, the strength in saying no, and the freedom that comes from not explaining every decision. She doesn't chase love, she creates space for it. She doesn't cling to what hurts, she releases with grace. Her boundaries are firm but kind. Her heart is open but protected. She's not afraid to be alone because she enjoys her own company. And in that solitude, she recharges, reflects, and realigns. People wonder how she does it, how she remains so calm, so centered, so clear. The answer is simple. She chooses peace over drama, clarity over confusion, and purpose over popularity. She is the woman who knows that not everyone will understand her, and she's made peace with that. She's not everyone's cup of tea, and she doesn't try to be. Her circle is small but full of depth. Her conversations are meaningful. Her friendships are intentional. She'd rather sit alone in truth than be surrounded by pretense. And that's what sets her apart. She's not moved by trends, opinions, or pressure. She moves to the rhythm of her own soul. She's in tune with her intuition and guided by values, not noise. People feel safe around her not because she fixes their problems, but because she doesn't add to the chaos. Her energy is a sanctuary for those who are tired of pretending, performing, or proving themselves. She radiates the kind of confidence that comes from knowing she's no longer available for anything that disturbs her inner peace. She no longer needs to explain why she's unavailable, uninterested, or unwilling. She's done overextending, over-explaining, and over-giving. She shows up for others, but never at the cost of herself. She loves deeply, but she no longer pours into people who refuse to grow. She's learned that her energy is sacred, and not everyone is meant to have access to it. She's selective, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. She gives her time to what nourishes her heart to what honors her, and her effort to what elevates her. She isn't afraid of change. In fact, she embraces it. She knows that growth often requires letting go, and that evolution is part of the journey. She doesn't resist the seasons of her life, she trusts them. She's not attached to the past or obsessed with the future. She's rooted in the present, grounded in awareness, and flowing with purpose. Her peace didn't come easily, it was earned. Through heartbreaks, goodbyes, disappointments, and awakenings. Through choosing herself again and again, even when it was hard. Through learning that it's okay to outgrow people, places, and patterns that no longer serve her. Through embracing the truth that peace isn't a destination. It's a daily decision. She is the kind of woman who rises not just after she falls, but stronger, sharper, and more self-aware than ever before. Her journey has been anything but easy, yet she carries herself with a grace that reflects the battles she has endured and the lessons she has learned. Life tried to break her, but instead it revealed her strength. Every scar is a story, every setback a seed of wisdom, and every disappointment a redirection towards something more aligned with her soul. She doesn't crumble under pressure, she transforms. Pain has been her teacher, solitude her sanctuary, and self-respect her compass. She no longer begs for clarity from people who speak in confusion. She no longer tries to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding her. She doesn't need permission to be who she is, because she has found freedom in authenticity and liberation in letting go. She shows up in the world not for validation, but with intention. Her goals are not to impress others, but to remain true to her values. She doesn't measure her worth by her followers, likes, or status. She measures it by her peace, her growth, and her alignment with her purpose. She's not in competition with anyone because she knows her journey is uniquely hers. She's more focused on becoming better than she was yesterday than on outshining someone else today. Her success is quiet, her moves are intentional, and her joy is sacred. She keeps her growth private, her peace protected, and her spirit grounded. Not because she's hiding, but because she understands that some things grow best in silence. She's no longer the woman who stays in places where her soul feels drained. She leaves tables where love is conditional, respect is inconsistent, and peace is absent. She refuses to entertain connections that exhaust her spirit or conversations that lack depth. She's done begging to be seen, heard, or chosen. She chooses herself now, fully, unapologetically, and gracefully. She has learned the power of detachment not from a place of bitterness, but from a place of clarity. She lets go not because she doesn't care, but because she cares deeply about her well-being, her energy, and her future. She's no longer interested in forcing what doesn't flow. If it's not for her, she releases it. If it doesn't grow her, she walks away. If it doesn't align, she lets it go. She's the woman who speaks less and observes more. She listens to what is said, but more importantly, to what is not. She trusts actions over words, consistency over charm, and energy over appearance. She's not impressed by surface-level promises. She seeks depth, honesty, and emotional maturity. She has no desire to fit in where she doesn't belong. Her tribe may be small, but it's real. She values quality over quantity in everything: love, friendships, and experiences. She pours into those who pour back, but she never empties herself in the process. Her love is fierce but guarded, her time precious but intentional, and her soul open but protected. She has become the woman who no longer fears being alone, because solitude is where she found her power. She understands that not everyone who starts the journey with her is meant to finish it. She lets people go without resentment and welcomes endings without resistance. She embraces change because she knows that transformation is not the enemy. It's the path to her next level. She releases attachment to who she was and honors who she is becoming. She evolves without announcement, grows in silence, and rises without noise. Her transformation is quiet, but her presence speaks volumes. She doesn't need to prove her worth to anyone, because she has already proven it to herself through the nights she held herself together and the mornings she chose to rise anyway. Her strength is not in how loud she is, but in how deeply rooted she remains in her truth, her values, and her vision for the life she is creating. She's the kind of woman who knows how to sit with herself in silence and still feel full. She doesn't rely on noise to distract her or crowds to validate her existence. She's found comfort in her own company, learned to enjoy the sound of her own thoughts, and discovered that peace isn't found in places. It's cultivated within. She no longer rushes to fill empty spaces in her life with temporary people or shallow conversations. Instead, she waits patiently for the things that align with her growth. She's learned that solitude is not a sign of loneliness, but a space for reflection, recalibration, and inner healing. Her presence is not loud, but powerful, not demanding, but undeniable. She knows who she is, and that makes her unshakable. She doesn't settle for half-hearted love, one-sided friendships, or superficial interactions. She craves depth, meaning, and connection that nourishes her soul. She is not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't value her or see her worth. She has let go of the need to explain herself, to shrink for others' comfort, or to constantly prove her loyalty. Her boundaries are no longer blurred. She says no without guilt and yes without fear. She is intentional with her time, energy, and emotions. Every choice she makes is rooted in awareness and self-respect. She doesn't chase love, opportunities, or validation. She attracts them through the calm confidence she carries and the authenticity she radiates. She doesn't fear change anymore because she understands that growth requires discomfort. She's not afraid to outgrow people, environments, or even versions of herself. She welcomes the unknown, embraces uncertainty, and trusts that everything unfolding is guiding her toward her next chapter. She has faced her own darkness and didn't run from it. She sat with her pain, listened to its message, and let it teach her what comfort never could. She knows healing isn't linear, and strength isn't the absence of struggle. It's choosing to rise anyway. Her resilience is not born from avoidance, but from confrontation. She faces the hard truths, has the uncomfortable conversations, and makes the bold decisions, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary for her evolution. She doesn't compare herself anymore. She's no longer distracted by what others are doing or discouraged by timelines that don't match her own. She's realized that her path is hers alone, and there's no deadline for becoming. She moves at her own pace, grounded in gratitude for how far she's come, and filled with quiet anticipation for where she's headed. She claps for others without questioning her worth, and celebrates their success without measuring it against her own. She knows that confidence isn't about being the best. It's about being at peace with yourself. And she's found that peace through clarity, consistency, and commitment to becoming her truest self. She's stopped explaining her softness or justifying her strength. She doesn't need to be understood by everyone to remain rooted in her truth. She knows that her vulnerability is not weakness but courage, that her empathy is not a flaw but a gift. She doesn't hide her emotions, nor does she allow them to control her. She feels deeply, but chooses wisely. She's learned the balance between giving and protecting, between trusting and discerning, between being open and staying grounded. She loves with depth, but she doesn't lose herself in the process. She's the woman who remembers her worth even on days she feels unworthy, who chooses to believe in her light even when everything around her feels dark. She doesn't seek attention, she creates impact. She doesn't demand respect, she commands it through the way she carries herself, the way she treats others, and the way she honors her journey through both chaos and calm. She's the woman who rose not because the world was kind to her, but because she refused to let the world break her. Life didn't hand her ease or comfort. It threw storms, losses, betrayals, and disappointments her way. And yet she didn't let any of it define her spirit. She stood up every time she was knocked down. She stitched herself back together when no one came to rescue her. Her strength was never inherited. It was built from every scar, every silent tear, every time she chose to keep going when giving up seemed easier. She didn't wait to be saved. She became her own savior, her own anchor, her own guiding light. She took the pain and turned it into purpose. She took the chaos and turned it into clarity. She learned that resilience isn't about not falling, it's about rising, again and again, with more wisdom and more grace each time. She knows now that survival isn't enough. She didn't come this far to just keep existing. She came to live, to thrive, to bloom into everything she was meant to be. And she's no longer afraid to be seen in her entirety. She doesn't hide her past, her flaws, or the shadows she's had to walk through. She carries them with pride because they are proof of her journey. She knows the value of her battle scars and understands that the most powerful people are often the ones who have had the hardest battles. She doesn't compete with others because she's too busy becoming the best version of herself. She's let go of the need to impress and embraced the need to express. She lives in her truth, even when it makes others uncomfortable. She's not here to fit in. She's here to rise. There was a time when she doubted herself, when the voices of others were louder than her own, when she questioned whether she was enough. But that time has passed. She has found her voice, and it is steady, strong, and unapologetic. She doesn't shrink herself to keep peace. She doesn't silence herself to avoid conflict. She speaks with intention and listens with wisdom. She doesn't chase attention, love, or approval. She has learned that when you stand in your truth, the right things find you, and the wrong things fall away. She trusts her intuition, honors her energy, and protects her peace like a sacred flame. She knows that her worth isn't negotiable, and her boundaries are non-negotiable. She no longer measures her value by her productivity, her relationship status, or the opinions of others. She knows now that her value is inherent, not something that needs to be earned. She allows herself to rest without guilt, to grow without comparison, to love without fear. She embraces her seasons, her summers of joy, and her winters of reflection. She understands that even in moments of stillness, she is evolving. She doesn't force things to happen, she allows things to unfold. She has faith in timing, patience in the process, and love for the journey itself. She is no longer interested in surface-level conversations or hollow relationships. She wants real, deep, soul-stirring connection. She wants people in her life who see her, not just what she offers. She surrounds herself with energy that feels safe, nurturing, and inspiring. She would rather stand alone in truth than be surrounded in pretense. She's not afraid of solitude because she's found power in her own presence. She doesn't beg to be chosen because she has already chosen herself. She's building a life rooted in purpose, surrounded by people who speak the language of growth, and driven by a fire that no one else can put out. She's not done evolving, not done learning, not done rising. Every day is another chapter in her story, and she's writing it with resilience, intention, and quiet, unshakable courage. She's no longer afraid to start over, because she knows that endings are often disguised beginnings. What once looked like failure now feels like redirection. She doesn't fear loss, because she has seen how letting go creates space for better things. The version of her that once held on too tightly has learned the power of release. She has outgrown the need to control everything. She now walks with open hands, trusting that what is meant for her will stay, and what leaves is clearing the way. She no longer clings to people, plans, or identities that don't serve her growth. She understands that not everything broken needs to be fixed. Sometimes it just needs to be left behind. She doesn't mourn every goodbye, because she knows her journey isn't tied to who couldn't walk with her. There was a time she feared being misunderstood, feared not being accepted, feared being alone. Now she knows that her truth is not for everyone, and that's okay. She doesn't dilute herself to fit into spaces too small for her soul. She has learned to say no without guilt, to walk away without explanation, and to stand alone without apology. Her self-worth isn't conditional anymore. It doesn't shrink or expand based on how others treat her. It's steady, unwavering, rooted in self-awareness and compassion. She knows her value and she acts like it. She doesn't seek permission to be herself. She's not chasing love, she's attracting alignment. She doesn't look outward for validation, because she's already found peace within. She's stopped waiting for the perfect time, the perfect version of herself, or the perfect plan. She's living now, taking imperfect steps with courage. She doesn't need everything to be figured out before she moves. She's learned that clarity often comes from action, not overthinking. She doesn't sit in fear anymore. She walks through it. Even when her voice shakes, even when her heart races, she shows up. She takes chances on herself, invests in her healing, and shows up for the life she wants to build. She doesn't let doubt be louder than desire. She listens to the quiet pull of her dreams and honors them with movement. She no longer lets her past dictate her worth. She's made peace with who she used to be. She no longer punishes herself for decisions made in survival. She holds space for the girl who didn't know better and celebrates the woman who does. She's learned to love herself in all her stages: broken, healing, blooming. She doesn't rush her process. She honors it, trusts it, and lets it unfold in its own time. She's stopped trying to arrive somewhere. Now she's choosing to be present where she is, to find meaning in the moment, to breathe deeply and live intentionally. She no longer pretends to be fine when she's not. She allows herself to feel without judgment. She knows that strength is not in never breaking, but in having the courage to feel and still continue. She embraces her softness as her superpower. She knows that kindness doesn't make her weak, and boundaries don't make her cruel. She can hold space for others while still holding space for herself. She can give love without losing herself in the process. She has learned the art of reciprocity, of balance, of choosing herself without guilt. She's rewriting what strength looks like. It's not cold or hard. It's open, honest, and deeply rooted. She's not interested in living for the applause anymore. She's not motivated by how things look, but how they feel. She's chasing fulfillment, not perfection. She's letting her heart lead, even when it doesn't make sense to others. She's okay with being misunderstood by those who haven't lived her story. She doesn't explain her journey to those committed to misunderstanding it. She honors her truth, and she knows that's enough. Every day, she's becoming more herself, not who the world told her to be, but who she's always been beneath the noise.